And that is why I should not have had you download videos before I gave you your network upgrade.
That reminds me, where even are we right now?
Well, I couldn't find any other good dimensions to go to, so...
Are you kidding me? We're moving here?
I mean, as long as the me from this dimension doesn't find us, we should be good.
Alright, but if he finds us, we gotta go, alright?
Agreed. Who knows what would happen if that were to occur?
What? You built an entire new house in this dimension?
No, I just had Walmart do it.
Well, what'd it cost?
Me having to play 16 Roblox games made by companies.
Really?
No, I just need an excuse to play them. If you've played Roblox anywhere between 2022 and 2023, you would know of the chokehold these types of games had on events. Every single event, with like one exception, was sponsored. It got so bad to the point where people were debating whether to even keep the events tab or just rename it to like sponsors. Roblox eventually came to the decision to remove events altogether, up until March 2024 when the hunt happened, but I already did 2-hour-long analysis videos on those events. These corporate games are far from gone though, so we'll take a look at the ones that remain today and see if they're good or bad. Alongside this, I'll also give them a ranking from 1 out of 10.
Hey Star, what even qualifies as a corporate game?
Well, a corporate game is generally a game published by a company, but hires developers to make it for them. Similar to YouTuber games in the past, but with a much higher budget. With this high budget, they generally have the opportunity to make free UGC items in order to attract players.
Hang on, wait a minute. What's so different about this and the Blue Void if all we're doing is just talking about them?
Who said we're only gonna be talking about them? Our journey starts in the Despicable Me 4 Heist obby. Surprisingly, this one is a gift card link. You buy a Roblox gift card on Amazon, you can get a UGC item, I guess. There are multiple teased modes, however there's only one available right now, the speed run. Well, really, the main obstacle course that this entire game was teasing towards. You play as yourself, working with Gru, a minion, the baby, and the probably twist villain of Despicable Me 4, I don't know. The goal of the game is to break into a school in order to steal its mascot. A school with a very, very good security system. Like, I'm talking lasers, axes, the works. Wouldn't this school get, like, sued for having all these security systems in place?
Star, this is literally the school of villainy. Did you really think this place would not break the law in some way?
Well, you have a good point. There's this pretty cute mechanic where you can like head stack in order to reach the security cameras to disable them with rags, which I do like, it's a nice touch. Anyways, I should probably explain what the speedrun aspect of this game is. There are 4 levels to this game. Each one you can get 3 stars on each of them. The goal is to complete each level in 3 minutes and 30 seconds or less each. Of course, you can complete the levels in a longer amount of time, however that's how you get all 3 stars, which I was aiming for. The first level, which you've already seen, was a dropper. The second one is the most normal gameplay I've seen. The third one introduces a lock-picking mechanic, which is basically a timing minigame for doors. Some doors will actually kill you if you fail the minigame, while others will just stay locked. Oh yeah, and the axes from before are introduced. There's also bonus doors that just straight up, like, kill you. But there are also bonus doors that throw this bullcrap at you, like you're expected to get that first try. After holding a proximity prompt on a moving target twice, we complete level 3. There's no voice acting in this game, but Poppy's dialogue sounds like she's an e-girl. The fourth and final stage is just Minion Rush, but extremely worse. All you gotta do is dodge the obstacles as the conspicuously dangerous wheelchair chases you. And then you win and you get your UGC. Is what I would say if you didn't have to wait an hour to get it. Like, oh my god, premium payouts, anyone? The modeling was good, but it felt bland. 5 out of 10. Not the worst thing in the world. I can't really say that much about NBA Avatar catalog. Like, what do you want me to say? The UGC is kinda good? Of course now, like 90% of the UGC is either super duper expensive, nobody wants it, or it's out of stock. You can also get a badge from making basketball shots, but the only way to get said badge is by buying NBA merchandise. I'm not sure if it costs Robux or not, because I didn't even consider buying the shirts. I can't really say anything other than that, other than I, kinda liked the blocky aesthetic that it had. Despite that, there's not really that much value here. I don't actively despise it, but at the same time, I didn't really gain anything from playing this. It's mainly meant to be a UGC hub anyways. As an actual game though, I'm giving this a 3 out of 10. I know I probably shouldn't grade it as such, but I mean, that's what I do here, so I mean, yeah. Shrek Tycoon was the only one I actually had to pay to get in, as it was in early access. This is exactly as it sounds. It's a tycoon themed around Shrek. What'd you expect? Except it's not as simple as you would think. This is kind of like a drag simulator type game where you have to equip items and drag them across with a strength mechanic that you gotta level up in order to carry more things. Over time, you progressively build upon the landscape until eventually you start building Shrek's house itself. I would also like to mention the stupidly overpowered server events where if you put 5,000 coins in, you get 10,000 coins out. For the higher level ones, you can just put all your coins in and watch as a higher level player puts all of their coins in, and you still get double the coins you put in for it regardless of if you did everything or not. Either way, there are some things that you can't just buy with coins, which is where rebirths come in. Once you build the house, you can rebirth. This gives you 5 rebirth tokens in which you unlock procedural coin generation. Usually every button gives you 20 coins every 5 seconds for the rebirth stuff. The one gripe I have is that you can just buy a ton of coins and rebirth tokens. Yeah, I'm buying it in this just so I can progress for the video and stuff. But besides that, the game gets really tedious really quickly. Especially since you have to rebuy everything and go around the entire map hitting buttons after you rebirth. I can't really grade this properly since it's still in early access, but in its current state, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. The environments and modeling is this game's one saving grace, otherwise I would have given this a 3 or 2. Plus, I mean Shrek, beloved IP. Regardless, it's fine enough. e.l.f. Up Tycoon kind of intrigued me, because if you've been a watcher of my videos for a few months, you would know that e.l.f. Up sponsored some of the games from The Hunt. This company called e.l.f. Up is sponsoring it, and while we've seen this company before, it's just blatant that it's everywhere now. The quest box permanently has the company logo above it. Well, now instead of spending their money on sponsoring games in The Hunt, they made their own game now.
A game that is a blatant ripoff of Mall Tycoon.
Oh my god, you're right, these guys are shameless.
I mean, the formula works, it's just, please try and be original.
Instead of actually progressing through the game, I did the big race quest. I was basically treating this as if it was a game from The Hunt. First, you need to open the Indy 500 store, which was basically free. Then, you actually need to complete the store. I didn't know how long that would take because I just bought cash with Robux. Then, because this is race-themed, you practice for a race in the dullest racetrack I have ever played on. Oh my god, this is so boring. There are 4 turns and that's it. You could have made it like Mario Kart where it has items or something, but no. Not even speed boosts, just go. Once you do that, you just hold down a few proximity prompts in order to check on your car. I mean, come on, at least like simple mini games could have been better than just holding E. Then we have the actual race, which is just the exact same thing, except there are cars behind you that move way too slow for you. I mean, at least this time there's a lose condition, but it's still ludicrously easy. And after all of that, I got my UGC reward. Except first, I had to go to the announcements channel in their Discord server. Their Twitter account didn't have the link. And they were all sold out. What did you expect?
Oh, come on. They could have at least told you that they were out of UGC before making you do all of that, and only for you to receive disappointment in return. We went through that entire race star, and we got nothing in return.
Well, Bitti, that's not entirely true. We got 1,000 tickets, which we can spend on a sold-out UGC. Yeah, you're right. This just felt bland in general. 2 out of 10 because you'd probably have to play the game a bit to access this, and even then, the rest of the game is just a clone of Mall Tycoon. Yes, the British Broadcasting Corporation made a Roblox game. This is official. This game's main objective is to find stickers around the map. These stickers gives you rewards such as double jumping and wall climbing. Stickers can be artwork, memes, or whatever. Oh yeah, also, after like 2 seconds in water, you just like die. Yeah, you can increase this time, but you're gonna have to collect a lot of currency to do so. Why was this restriction even implemented? I mean, I guess it's to just like add an incentive? Most of the zones were themed around things like, you know, BBC Match of the Day for the sports zone. Or the Wonder Lab to like Shaun the Sheep. The 6 different worlds gave me my suspicions though, which were confirmed once I walked in the tent. This tent feels barely decorated for a festival, which made me think that these developers were probably time crunched into just pushing something out. Like they could have had stands with players on them. The tent outside was decorated, but inside it just felt lackluster. Like, the books don't belong here. It wasn't horrible, but it just felt more like a quest in the classic than anything. And given the nature of the classic, that's not really that much of a compliment. 4 out of 10, I would have preferred if there was like actual gameplay to be had. But I mean, it could just be in its beta stages for all I know. Yes, I am counting GameFam in corporate games because GameFam is a corporation, and a really shady one at that. But I'm not here to talk about what they did wrong, I'm here to talk about SpongeBob Simulator. This follows the 350 Robux for a 1 in 2,000 chance of a good thing kind of deal that Pet Simulator has. Alongside 300 Robux for a random morph, a crap ton of game passes and boosts, whatever. There is the occasional boss battle in order to unlock new zones in the game. It's nothing really that special, it's just a big breakable that gives you a time limit to break it. Other than that, there's not really much uniqueness about it besides the fact that it's SpongeBob and that the models are a lot more detailed than Pet Simulator. Then again, Pet Simulator doesn't aim for detailed pets, they have their own style. I hate to say it, but GameFam actually made a better product than the other stuff we've seen. Yeah, I'm not gonna lower points just because it's GameFam, I'm going to actually judge this game based on what it has to offer. Pet simulators can get a bit tedious at times, so I'm giving this a 6 out of 10. Is it better than Pet Simulator? No, obviously not, but it's better than the stuff we've seen in this video. You've probably heard of Walmart discovered for its one unique feature, that you can actually buy real-world items in Roblox. Unfortunately, my recorder couldn't record the actual window that pops up, but it is an actual Walmart window that will take your credit card information and will send an item to your house, in which you can get a twin item for your purchase. The virtual twins look kinda good, but I don't recommend actually buying one unless you have money to kill. The actual game is more of a featured marketplace for UGC and games.
Star, that's an AI image.
Well, that might have slipped through the cracks. There's no way Walmart could have figured that out from just a glance. There probably aren't any other AI image Oh. Yeah, they definitely know it's AI, oh my god. Ugh. Pick up a pencil! I did really like the coding and development themed area. I adore neon usage, so to me this feels really aesthetically pleasing. The actual area itself advertises UGCs along with a lot of useful plugins for developers, such as Data Store Editor. While I was in this area, I randomly got a prompt to join a game of Hot Potato in which I managed to get 3rd place. The movement's kinda good, honestly. Besides that, it's just your stock, typical corporate game. 4 out of 10. I wish there was like a goal to everything. Maybe a UGC you can get with enough coins? I do like the designs of the areas, though. With the name Nerf Island, you would kind of expect a Fortnite-styled game, right? Well, no. It's another minigame collection! Who would have thought? This does have a heavy shooter basis, cause, well, you know, Nerf. But this does have a UGC shop. It doesn't tell you how much is in stock, so you have no idea if you're getting an item that's out of stock or not. You only find out if it's too late. Yay! You can shoot targets to get extra tickets, but it's like very, very slow, so playing the games are just more profitable in general. The Viper's Pit is a speedrun based obby where you can decrease your time by hitting targets, except the time decreased is so marginally small that it would just be better if you were to just not hit any targets at all except if you were waiting. Moto Blitz was a coil defense game, I guess, where you basically have to defend against targets that you can barely see. Obviously, this was intended for multiplayer. Except since I was alone, I barely fended off Wave 1 and just decided to go back to the lobby. Finally, we visit Treasure Island, where we have to find Murphy's treasure list. There's a map which has only approximate locations, and once you actually do manage to find a chest and get to it, your character disappears, and you can't collect any more. I have no idea what causes this, but all I know is that I cannot collect any more. I have no idea how this was not caught in testing. It was like fine enough. 2 out of 10, nothing here was really worth my while. Maybe more beginner-friendly stuff. You know, I like going to Dave & Buster's, alright? I like seeing all the games they have, and just overall having a good time. This is not a good time. You can immediately tell that through the AI thumbnail. Not surprising considering how this is the same company that offered NFTs as prizes. But hey, I'm willing to give this game the benefit of the doubt. Let's see what it has to offer. First up is Arcade Run, an incredibly basic obby full of copy-paste pixel art. You have low gravity too. No special mechanics, just do the obby, I guess. Super Ball Dash is my favorite, but it is quite short. It's basically Super Monkey Ball if you go really, really fast and are not intended to fall off. I like the momentum of this one. Although the copy-paste trees were a bit bad though. Next up is Tricerachomp, where you have to avoid the chomping things, I don't know. They start out slow but get super fast. Your goal is to collect coins, however if you get hit by a Triglycera once, you lose all of them, but don't worry, they drop so you can just recollect them if you even can. I feel like this is intended to be played with multiple people. Next up is zombie survival, where you gotta gun down some zombies. Power-ups sometimes drop from the zombies, which basically give you different guns for a short amount of time. Cyan and pink eyes are normal. I think the military zombies have more health. There are two different types of big zombies, and the zombies with red eyes. If you do get overrun and lose all of your health, you have one last opportunity. If you mash the left and right arrow keys, you can survive. However, this only works once. Now, what happens if you do die? Nothing. You just get immediately teleported back. No death animation, no nothing. You're gone. At least code in like a game over screen for 5 seconds. Oh my god, are you that lazy? Dodgeball is a fun game. Dodgeball is not a fun game when there are only 3 people. Then it becomes increasingly boring to try and hit your opponent considering how they're your only target. Which would be better if you had more than one other person on your team. And that's Dave & Buster's World. The items don't do anything and all of the UGC is off sale. All of these minigames are subpar, but it is not absolutely abysmal, so I am giving this a 3 out of 10. If these games had any worse graphics, I would give it a 2 or a 1. But I do not like Dave & Buster's World. This was very disappointing. When I first saw this game, I had to make sure that this wasn't a fan game. But sure enough, after scouring the Duolingo Twitter account, it's real. Either way, welcome to the Duolingo Game Hub. You know, that one language app that you maybe use, I don't know. It has UGC, I think, where you can wear Duolingo. Now, this game's main selling point is the Duolingo Game Jam. You play a certain amount of games and you earn a coin multiplier. Now, I'm not gonna play all of them due to the sheer amount, but there is an official game, the Spanish or Vanish Maze. You know, Spanish or Vanish, that one meme. How do you do, fellow kids?
Sorry, that image was from 2019.
Yeah, I know. We start at level 1, find, I don't know, a candle, some roses, and the meatballs. Now, given the record of 58 seconds, I thought that this was the only stage. How wrong I was. There are 3 stages, and between each one you gotta do a Spanish thing. I looked up the answers because God knows what happens if I get one wrong. After that, you're in the office stage, where it's harder to see, but you have to, you know, take a crap, you gotta send a message to Duolingo, and you have to print out something. Once you do that, the amount of things you need to find increases to 5 at the arcade, where now you have to find PNGs of Duolingo's friends. Except the AI is excruciatingly unfair, and if he finds you, run, even though that doesn't work because they're gonna catch you anyway. There's no punishment for being caught except just being sent back to the spawn, which can get really, really annoying if you're trying to find something. But regardless, I found them, and I won. I won the Duolingo maze. And after walking up to the random block, I got the badge. As for the hub place, 2 out of 10. As for the games involved in the game jam itself, I'm not entirely sure. I can assume they're pretty good, I guess? I don't really know. Welcome to FIFA World. You would think this would be like a minigame collection, but no, it's actually a Tycoon instead. You spend the first 3 minutes of the game walking around the map pressing free buttons. Gee, how intuitive. After a while though, you get into the main meat of the game and build your own team. The main gimmick is that you can train your team to win matches, and if you don't train your team, then you get absolutely obliterated. But even if you do lose a match, you still earn a large amount of coins. For me, it was 1,000 if you lost, 2,000 if you won. How do you win more times? Well, you gotta go to a player and start training. You can also get more players through human containment units, also known as floating soccer balls. Is that even legal? Regardless, this is a pretty standard Tycoon. I'd say this is slightly worse than Shrek Tycoon, so I'm giving this a 4 out of 10. Maybe if you could actually participate in the matches instead of just watching a screen's numbers go up, that would probably raise the score a bit. You know, when I played Dave & Buster's, I didn't think that a different arcade chain would make something worse. I need to learn to lower my expectations. Because when the ticket counter on the left, instead of showing 0, shows an error, you know it's not that good of a game. Well, there are 3 minigames here, so let's check them out. The first minigame is an incredibly bland, generic, and boring obby with little to no decoration in it. It's just the same hallway over and over again with like a few bouncy pads and like horribly optimized moving UFOs. It took me like 3 minutes to do, although this wasn't really the main thing that the game wanted me to do. The second minigame is bowling but with a twist. You can choose different balls. That might not sound like a lot on paper, but these balls do very weird things. Like, for example, the wall ball prevents you from seeing the pins in exchange for a higher score. I actually really like the concept of this, and would really like to see a bowling game that expands on this concept more. However, this wasn't really fun as the only one playing. The final minigame is the most developed one. The shooter mode. But unfortunately, shooters don't really work when you're the only one in the lobby. There's no menu button, by the way, so it just turned into a 2-minute waiting simulator until I had the opportunity to go back to the hub again. I can't properly grade this mode, but I mean, it looks kinda cool, I guess. After doing all that, we get a real gift code for main event that expired in November. Yeah, this game absolutely blows. I'm giving it a 2 out of 10. If it weren't for bowling being so intuitive, I would have given this a 1. Only God knows what Mega Minigames 1 was like. And here we are at the final set of games and the main reason that I made this video. Welcome to Netflix Nextworld. This game was hated on by a lot of people for basically being underwhelming in terms of official licensed games, especially One Piece. With Blox Fruits, a fan game, having so much care into it, having the official One Piece game be kind of underwhelming was a disappointment. Either way though, I'm going to count the hub and the games in Netflix Nextworld as different games. So we're going to take a look at 4 games in this segment total. In the hub, there are 5 different currencies, 3 of which being happy, sad, and shock. You can use these to craft inanimate objects to power your ship. You can exchange these objects for 2 different currencies, which serve as the main currency of Netflix Nextworld. I feel like this just forced a crafting mechanic. Like, why not just have the 2 currencies instead of having 5 different currencies, which confuse a lot of people? Or is it to make the game falsely more engaging? This isn't just a hub though. You can actually interact with the Netflix characters, such as Ladybug. Most of them just hand out basic quests like eliminate the spoilers and locate the blueprints. You use your remote on the popcorn to gain the first 3 currencies that I mentioned earlier. The enemies are surprisingly well modeled too. There is UGC, however you need to do pretty wild things in order to get them. We'll come back to those later. We also have the Geeked Arcade, where we determine if this perfect replica of a statue of this guy is cake or not cake. I said cake, so let's see if it's cake or not. One overly suspenseful segment later, we reveal it's not. Also, you gotta wait an entire day to do it again. I'm giving this hub a 6 out of 10 just due to how well detailed it is. Even though it is just a game hub, it feels more than that, and I applaud these developers for going that extra mile. First up on our list of 3 games that this hub leads to is One Piece East Blue Brawls. This is a horde survival game. No PvP, just survive the waves. I could tell what people meant when they said that this was underwhelming, because for an official One Piece game, why wouldn't they have PvP? That's like the entire point of One Piece games. Like BBC Wonder Chase, this just felt like a quest for the classic. You do have 5 different classes to choose from. I chose the one with a bunch of swords, I don't know. I got to the point where we had small marines, big marines, and the marines that shot slingshots at you. I didn't really last too far into the game because your attacks eventually get replaced with seemingly better ones, but the seemingly upgraded one I had didn't really work too well. 3 out of 10, this is probably more fun with friends. Looking at the unlocks list, there were like a billion different upgrades, so I assume that getting the UGC was super hard. Now, I'll admit that I don't really like shooters that well. But unfortunately, shooters don't really work when you're the only one in the lobby. I'm not gonna take points off for that though, because this actually looks like a pretty competent shooter with its graphics. It has everything it needs to have, and I don't really see that much wrong with it besides the glitched out animations. There's not much else to say, it's just a shooter. 6 out of 10 because I really like the modeling. I would have given it a 7 if the animation bugs were fixed. The third game in the Netflix saga, along with the final game of this video, is Stranger Things Escape from Hawkins High. It's not really a secret that I absolutely suck at escape games, let alone horror games. But based on the little time I have had with this, it just seems like fine enough. The noise triggering did seem kind of like random though. Obviously, if you make too much noise, you attract the monsters. But everything just seemed really confusing for me. I did like the mechanic of switching to the other world though. It gave a whole new perspective on things. Unfortunately, I died because I accidentally walked in a room with a monster in it. It was good, but it was a bit confusing, and the gameplay wasn't all that nice, so I'm giving this a 4 out of 10.
Hey Star, how the heck do we escape this?
Don't worry, it's easy. Watch. Bitti, teleport us to home.
What? That's ridiculous, I don't have any... Oh. That's convenient.
The child to teen demographic is a massive demographic. And with so many people on the largest MMO of all time, it only makes sense to advertise your product or service by making a Roblox game. Unfortunately, at the end of the day, they're all just advertisements. They didn't make BBC Wonder Chase because they just wanted to make a good game, they made it so you watch BBC. All of these games are made with the intent of selling you something, instead of making an enjoyable product. It's the advertisement factor which makes all of these games feel forced. Or, another word, soulless. There are tons of other games out there, and playing e.l.f. up Tycoon, in my opinion, it just really isn't worth your time. With that being said though, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.
Hang on a moment. Where's Starism?
Oh, don't worry about him. He's probably still in the White Void playing Deal or No Deal.
Hey guys, how are y'all doing?